I am now officially with you all. How y'all doing? Good to see you guys. How's it going? Um, Welcome to another edition of Step Chat here in the Float Network. I am your disheveled host, Stephen Jones, coming at you tonight. Dina, you beat Matt. Dina beat Matt Russell this week. Nice going. Dina got it in there first. And there's Steve Jones. Hello, Stephanie McMillan. How are you, my dear? Yeah, I'm as you can tell, I'm getting to the point where my hair is starting to get a little longer than I like to keep it, and I have and the damn TSA confiscated my hair gel. So, and I've just been too lazy to go get more. So I'm kind of like, it's going all over the place. Hello, Sarah Rivera. Nice to see you. How you doing? Hello there, Brianda. Good to see you. I think, is this your first time out here on the call? At least I think it's the first time you've waved. So hello, Brianda. Good to see you. Hello, Gabby. And of course, T Money. What's up? What's up? What's going on? Yeah, that's right. Yes, there will be Roscoe time just later. I think, no, Matt, you did not. Mr. Russell, I'm afraid you did not hit the same time. Dina, if you look at the tape, Dina came in before you. Natasha, good to see you. How are you doing tonight? Good to see everybody. Nice having you here. Cynthia Jackson, it is always a pleasure to see you. Good to see you. And since Janice just came on the call, I want to share something with you guys that I got in the mail. Oh my goodness gracious me. Look at this here. Look at that there. Look at that there. That's right. I don't know if you guys have seen this or not, but the incredibly talented Janice Whitehead makes these wonderfully crocheted little balloon dogs. Isn't that cool? And I ordered one from her and said, everybody was like, I want one. I will buy one. So I purchased one. I actually got three. I got the orange one here, which I'm calling Shay. Crochet, get it? And then two purple ones. If you could imagine why I would order that, I have no idea. One for me and one for Alexis. So, and then to make matters even better, Celeste, hello there. Vicky Kimball, hello, good to see you. Vicky, I'm so sorry you called me the other day and I haven't called you back yet. I apologize. Just got very, 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 very busy, and you called it a horrible, horrible time. So I'll try and call you back tomorrow. Stephanie Marquardt, Stephanie Marquardt, good to see you. Don't want to, got to do it right. Hey, Christy, nice to see you. Oh, and Christy, you're going to be very, very, very surprised and very pleased. That's all I got to say. So yeah, aren't these great? These wonderful little balloon dogs. Janice Whitehead, by the way, a sponsor of Float, man. I know. She hand makes all of these. So yeah, I would definitely reach out to Janice or Phil, either one. Let them know that, hey, I'd like to get one. Don't insult her by asking for one. Please offer to pay her for her time. I would also like to thank Janice for the little surprise that she threw in there. Like, I need more help gaining weight. So thank you. Appreciate that. Jamie Chapman, good to see you. How you doing? And Mr. Lewis, Mr. Matt Lewis joins us once again from across the pond. Good to see you, sir. Lovely to have you. Yes. You know what's really funny? I was actually having a craptacular last hour, and now I'm happy. So all of you guys are here, and good to see you. So let's cover a few topics. First of all, let's talk about the class that was on Tuesday. The lovely and talented Melissa Vincent. Hello, Angela. The lovely and talented Melissa Vincent put on a fabulous class on gearing up for graduation. It was as good as any that I've had from her before, that I've taken from her. I mean, it was just fantastic. It was great. I loved it. I think a lot of people in the class really, really enjoyed it. And it was one of those things. Oh, good, Miss Stephanie, awesome class. The great thing about it too is, you know that you've done a really, really good job teaching, in my opinion, when there just aren't a lot of questions, because it means you've pretty much covered everything and everybody understands it, and it's pretty well. And you don't need to be spoon-fed, so to speak. So Matt Lewis, that's the worst English accent I've ever heard. That's okay, because you misspelled heard. So there you go. Good saying you. All right, so there we go. Oh, Grace is there. Hi, Grace. Good to see you, Grace. Hello, Grace. Yes, Melissa, you did. It was a great class. You did a very good job. It was a wonderful class. For those of you that missed it, you have to wait until March 27th. That's when it will officially be listed as a digital download. For those of you that did take the class, the instructional email went out on Friday. It went out late in the day on Friday. Hello, Debbie Levy. I do have to apologize. There was a bit of a glitch at first because I created the coupon code, but I forgot to actually connect it to the video. And then suddenly I started getting all these calls from Aphrodite like, Steve, what's going on? And I went, oh, crap. Okay. So then I went back in and figured it out. I knew exactly what it was the moment she said that she told me what the problem was. So I fixed it and it's been working ever since. So there you go. Good. Glad, Cindy. I'm very glad to hear that you enjoyed the class. This is, and some of you have asked too, you noticed in the email, you're like, wait a minute, where's our coupon code for balloondvds.com? That is going to be coming in the 1 week coupon from now on, or the 1 week email from now on. So basically what has happened is that in an effort to streamline and to make the emails shorter, we took a lot of that extra stuff out. So what we're going to do is so those of you that took Melissa's class, many of you know, you qualify for a 33% discount off of balloondvds.com, like anything you purchase through the digital downloads. But what we're doing is we're rotating that to the 1 week. So when the free replay is over and you get 1 week to buy it for $5, you'll also get the coupon code for the 33% off at that time too. So we're just going to kind of streamline this process and make it go a little bit easier. Because like I said, people are complaining that the emails are too long. But yeah, it's fine. Don't get me wrong. I've literally had people ask questions about the first meme. Like I didn't explain it. And it's answered in the meme. So it is what it is. So there you go. So that's that. So yeah, Melissa's class, great job. Fantastic. Expected nothing less. So there you go. Next month's class with Jeff Kelly. I'm not talking about it too much yet because I haven't had a chance to speak with him. As I mentioned before, there's about 200 and something, 300 people that are eligible to take this class because it's a free class for those individuals that are at least in the process of getting their registrations for Float. And as a result, the problem is that there's no way with our Zoom account we can fit more than 100 people at a time on a call. So I'm going to see if Jeff has another option, like he's got a different account that we can use for the call, or possibly Daryl and Beth can give us a hand with that, or do we have a couple of classes? Do we try to schedule Jeff more than once, and then you sign up for one, you sign up for the other, or you just watch the free replay, whatever works out for the best. So we're trying to figure that all out right now. And I admit it's mostly my fault. I just haven't had a chance to reach out to Jeff and talk to him about it. So, but I have several things to talk to him about coming up. So I'll be doing that very soon. Also, I'm very happy to say it's not official yet, but it looks like we may have our instructor for April. Good stuff. So I'm excited about that too, but I don't want to say too much in case it doesn't pan out, because it may not. You never know. It's not official yet. So okay. As far as the rest, that's pretty much the foundation right now. We've talked about this before. 1 Million Bubbles is coming up April 24th and 25th. That's another conversation I have to have with Jeff. Because as you know, Jeff and his company donates all the service done for the website for 1 Million Bubbles. So yeah, I need to chat with him about that too. So we're going to be putting together a lot more. You'll be hearing a lot more information about 1 Million Bubbles coming very soon. So there's that. Let's see here. Kathy Rains, it was a great class, and I especially appreciate you making a balloon person of color in one of the designs. Yeah. Well, I think nowadays, I think a lot of people nowadays have to, if you haven't already been doing it, I personally don't know why you wouldn't, but if you're living, it's so very easy for people to live in one particular universe, right? But I think it's very important that everybody recognize the fact that everyone needs to be inclusive as best as possible. It's just the way it is. And I'm very proud about the fact that I think Float has been that way since the beginning. we've always tried to make sure that Float is a representation of our community as a whole. And our community does not just consist of one race or one gender or one identity. Our industry consists of a variety of people from a variety of backgrounds and cultures. And so I thought it was great that Melissa did that. And yeah, so thank you for acknowledging that, Kathy. That's very cool. So, if you were watching Working Wonders on Wednesday night, um, they had a surprise guest. And some of you turned it on and said, "What's the big deal? It's just Steve." Yes, that's right. It was just me. Because I was there doing a site inspection at the hotel in Chicago. So I was basically broadcasting live from Chicago. It's amazing, though, the number of stories that get told as to why I was in Chicago. Um, I have been contacted already by two or three people asking me, "So I heard you went to Chicago because you're canceling Float. I heard you went to Chicago because you're rescheduling Float. I heard you went to Chicago, but I'm like, no, that's not, no, no." So hello, Tommy De Lorenzo. So let me, and I made this I made this pretty clear on the video the other night with Working Wonders, but allow me to reinstate why I was in Chicago. Um, when Alexa and I originally went to do the site inspection for Float last February, basically a year ago, we weren't there with COVID colored glasses on, right? We were there looking at what could we do in this ballroom space? What can we do in this ballroom space? What can we do in this ballroom space? What do we do in this hallway? Where can we put, whatever? We weren't thinking about where do I run a socially distant line of 200 people, right? Hello, Charlie. I wasn't thinking about if I put a competition piece in this hall right here, do I have enough room for people lining up somewhere and a clear walking path in the middle so that people don't stop? And to avoid problems that we had like at the last convention, we want to make sure, do we have enough, how many entrance decor pieces can we actually have sign up? How many, organic pieces can we have? How many foil pieces can we have? How many sculpture competition entries can we do? So that was all of that. That's what my trip was about. Plus, on top of that, I wanted to see what the hotel was doing, um, as far as safety goes, and as far as other things go, and I, for the most part, of course, the hotel is doing everything that it can do, but I guess going to Walt Disney World really spoiled me because it was, it's interesting to see at the same time what they consider to be acceptable. As far as, I'm not suggesting that the hotel is putting anybody at risk. I'm just saying that I would have thought there'd have been more hand sanitizer stations for one. Now, mind you, but I was speaking to the guy, and there's only one more that's supposed to go in between now and our convention. And I was like, really? Like one? You have like six, and four of them are in the lobby. And he's like, yeah. He's like, we're gonna have like one more over there. And I guess they were waiting on it to arrive. So, we actually have, well, we are ordering 18 hand sanitizer stations, the battery powered kind, the kind you just stick your hand underneath and it splits out, and there you go. Yeah, we've got 18 of those on order for the convention, um, and a bunch of other stuff. So like I said, I had to go, and I had to look at things from different perspective. I had to go and imagine things, and at the same time, hello, Jackie Sopko. Jackie Sopko, check your private messages, please. Um, your answers are there. Um, so yeah, I mean, like I said, I had to go look at. For example, we booked another room. Well, I actually went to book a couple rooms. I had to book another ballroom space because our vendor showcase, as you know, sold out in like a month last year. So we did sign the contract for the new space. So now we have 33 more booth spaces available technically it's 31 because we've already sold two of them. So thank you, Sarah. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. So yeah, so we've got 33 more spaces. Now, keep in mind, if for some reason we are, um, if for some reason we're not able to do what I want to do with it, then we may have to spread some people out or whatever. But I think we're going to be fine as far as that goes. Um, okay, perfect. Thank you, Jackie. So yeah, that's why I was in Chicago, basically. Um, Unfortunately, a lot of the conversations that I've had, well, how do I put this exactly right? So I went to Chicago with a bunch of questions. And while some answers were yay, others were not. And most people carry their own sanitation nowadays. That is true, Benita. That is absolutely true. But as the producer of an event where 500 to 700 people will be attending, I pretty much have to do this. At least I feel that I'd have to do it. So um, again, it's you know it I don't know. It's a thing, and I know for a fact when I was at Walt Disney World, it made me feel really good because you don't realize how much you come into contact with things, right? And when you're in an amusement park, you're touching something that 85 other people have touched in the last 10 minutes, right? So, and you do it without thinking. You grab a door handle. You don't necessarily think about, oh God, I just handled something that now 45 other people did in the last minute. Um, you're touching rails or you're doing whatever, and you're just not thinking about it. So so at Disney, it was great because, like I said, about every 50 yards there was a battery powered sanitizer dispenser, and literally I was probably putting sanitizer on my hands every 10 minutes. Um, I wouldn't say every 10 minutes, but I was doing it often enough. I'd say at least two or three times, at least three times an hour. And it was literally like we'd get off a ride and I would immediately go and find a sanitizer, which at the end of the rides, they had like several. And so you would just get off a ride and boom, there's sanitizer, there's another one down here, there's another one down there. And boom, take care of it. You're done, cleaned up, you're good to go at this point. You're fine. So it was one of those things. Lori Ferrara, thank you from someone who is currently COVID positive and likely got it at a hotel as they did not have enough stations. Oh, well, Lori, first of all, I'm very sorry to hear that you got COVID, but I hope you're fighting it off. Um, yeah, so again, for me, it's a peace of mind thing, and yeah, and we're looking, and honestly, we're looking to get them sponsored. Um, we're looking to get them actually sponsored. The sanitizer stations that I specifically bought actually have an 8x8 sign that's attached to them, and it's perfect for a sponsorship. So if somebody wants to sponsor one, which one of any of our sponsors, then they can do that, um, and then at the end, when float's over, they can actually keep it if they want to and take it home. So that means any of you could sponsor one if you really wanted to, and if you have the means to take it home with you when the convention's over, by all means, it's yours. Um, because again, I don't think 3 years from now I'm going to need 18 hand sanitizer stations. I'm buying three that are specifically just for the back of the house staff, so those won't be up for sponsorship, but the remaining ones would totally be. Stephanie, I thought the CDC required them every so many feet based on occupancy. No, you're probably right. That I'm sure is true. You have to understand with the hotel right now anyway, um, right now the convention space is barely being used. So with all their sanitizers right there in the lobby, and I'm gonna tell you right now, there might have been 20 people in that hotel. I don't think there were more than 20 people in the entire hotel. I did not see, I barely saw anybody in that hotel. So yeah, so they may have more than enough right now. Um, Cynthia Jackson and Tommy De Lorenzo, how much? the sponsorships are 99 bucks a piece. So yeah, so if you, I mean, seriously, like I said, if you want to, and again, I'm perfectly fine with the notion of they could be sponsored by a individual company. They could say this safety station brought to you by Balloons by Tommy. I mean, there's no reason why it can't do that. Yeah, that's something you guys want to do. And then, like I said, you get to keep the sanitizer station when it's over. So it's up to you. Um, so that's why I was in Chicago. But again, like I said, one of the um, you know, one of the biggest concerns that I had when I was there, and this was a very valid question, was, what happens if the governor says we can't have float, right? What happens if the governor turns around and says you can't have, because right now, like I said, Illinois, or at least, sorry, Lombard is in phase four, as I hold up five fingers, phase four of five phases. But the thing is, there's a difference. Cynthia Jackson, that's actually a pretty good idea. Put them in the orange store and see who buys them. Um, so yeah, so I got sidetracked. The hell was I saying? It's gone. Oh, so we're talking about, they're in phase four, and that means right now they're allowed to have up to 50 people at an event. Okay. Um, well, obviously 50 people is 10% of what we had at the last float. And of course, the next phase is phase five, which is everything's back open to normal. So I personally do not expect to go from four to five. I think there's going to be a 4.1, a 4.2, a 4.3, that kind of thing. Um, but yeah, apparently I will do this. Apparently I'll put these in the orange store later tonight or tomorrow, and you guys can go at it. Um, so also keep in mind that you don't get them until after the convention. You guys know that, right? You're not ordering them now and I'm shipping them to you and you get to use them in between. It's after the convention you get them. So okay, Sarah, keep in mind each state has its own phase system. See, here in Washington State, we only have four. Also, Illinois has five. So yeah, phase four is not great for float in Illinois. In Illinois. So I presume that there's going to be some steps. So the question that I had for the hotel, of course, is what happens if we are not, what if the governor says we can't have float? Well, then they said, okay, well then when we make that decision, you'll be fine. And they've even said, because the contract was signed pre-COVID, it's all considered part of the force majeure and they would let us out. But then I started having issues, because then I started talking to him and I said, okay, well, then can we at least look at some dates? Number one, I'm concerned about 2024, right? Because if all these events got backed up, what's my situation look like for 2024? I want to make sure that I'm far enough so we can book. I said, but secondly, I need to look at dates for 2023. And then they were like, okay, well, obviously so much depends on, yes, of course. Oh, absolutely, Kathy. Yeah, of course. There is an election in 2020. Yeah, I don't, yeah, that's true. There is an election in November of 2022. Um, so, so they were talking about, and they said, well, here's your dates for 2024. And I said, well, what about the possibility, or what are my options for 2023? Well, let's not talk about that. Let's just address that if we have to. That is code. That is code for we don't want you moving this event. Because the problem is, if we wait and wait and wait and wait and wait to address potential dates for float in 2023, all of those dates are going to get bought and sold. And they know this. So what the hotel was really saying is, yeah, we want you to move forward with what you're doing. So, so I had to really digest that. And I came back with, because my immediate concern, of course, was, dear God, if we can't have the people there, we can't have float. And then, of course, I was actually sitting on my couch last night watching Community. And it kind of hit me. Out of weird hit me. No, we can still do float. It's just what form is it going to take? So while I'm still like queasy, nauseousy, like unsure, I can, without hesitation, share to all of you, there will be a Float 2022. The ultimate question is going to be, obviously, what form will the convention take? It is my hope that it will be just fine. It's my hope that it'll be just like 2020, with the exception, of course, is that we will probably have to be masked up. That is my presumption based on everything I'm hearing out of different legislatures and out of different advisors to corporate advisors to this kind of thing. Worst case scenario is float would have to be severely limited to no more than 100 people, and that's total, which would mean the staff would have to be slashed. We'd still bring the teachers in. I'd try to bring in as many actual delegates as possible. More than likely, we would have a massive exodus of sponsors because the numbers aren't going to be there to justify their involvement, which would make sense. And they'd be subject to a refund. Yeah, we'd have to play it by ear and see exactly what we could do. That's the worst case scenario. The best case scenario, like I said, is float like it was before. And then, of course, there's always option 3, which is somewhere in the middle. Somewhere in the middle would be, maybe it's no more than 250 people. Maybe it's no more than 300 people. Maybe it's no more than 500 people. Maybe we have to cap it at 5. So again, we're not going to know. We're not going to know for a while. All I got to say is I don't think it matters. Yeah. Yes, Jackie, you're absolutely right. Jackie, wouldn't it be 25% capacity if the space? Well, Tommy, right now, phase 4 is 25% capacity or up to 50 people. So that's where we are at the moment. And yes, Jackie, you're right. Larger groups are probably going to have to continue masking up for a couple of years, which is why no matter how you feel about vaccinations, no matter how you feel about whether or not you should get the vaccine or whether you feel it's safe or whatever, blah, 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 then you better hope everybody else is doing it because that's what's going to get float reopened the way we all want it to be. So there's that. Teresa, there it is, 37. Bam, there you go. And on that note, let's take a break from the action. And let's check in on my co-host for the show. As you can see, he's taking a lot of time and effort to really, really get involved in his work. Yep, there's the hardworking Roscoe once again. Sure enough, to get probably a lot more hearts than anything that I ever got tonight. You can tell he's really into this. There you go. For those of you that demand Roscoe screen time, there you have it. Okay, so let's see here. All right, get back over here. Excuse me. Yep, see, there it is. There's all the hearts. There's all the hearts flying. No, none for me. All for the orange cat. There you go. The only thing that makes us happy. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you. Yes, you're no longer invited to Float Foundation classes. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So yeah, there's there you go. By the way, for those of you that have been asking, Roscoe will not be at Float. Roscoe sadly does not travel well at all. At all. He is not, yeah, no. No, no. As much as I would like to bring him, it would be sheer hell for him. It would be torture, and we don't want to, we don't want to do that to him just to bring him to float, and you know, so. Yes, he is a very, very cute thing. He is indeed Vicky Kimball. He's just, but unfortunately, yeah, he's not gonna be able to make it to float. So, um, Teresa has insisted that we set up a Roscoe cam and just literally aim the camera at that box, like whenever we're not here, because that's pretty much where he spends the rest of his night, is right there. Every once in a while, he will find something creeping around here, but that's about it. Um, okay, so that's really all I have tonight. I just wanted to make sure that everybody understood. Now, if you would like to see a walking tour of our new hotel and our new home, you can go to, I haven't removed it from the group yet. I told you guys last week that I am starting to kind of clean the feed out. Um, so once a television show, once one of our network shows goes on to, um, once it goes on to, um, once it goes on to YouTube, we pretty much are deleting them off the timeline to kind of keep the timeline more relevant and more frequent. But the working, well, first of all, I haven't edited the Working Wonder show yet, so it's perfectly fine. It's still out there. But if you would like to see a sneak peek to the hotel for Float 2022, you can go to the Working Wonders show from last week and check it out. You will recognize the mystery guest. So there you go. Oh dear God, a Roscoe sculpture competition. No, no. It's bad enough that he's got his own Pops card coming. No, there you go. But I'm serious. For those of you, right, 37 again. For those of you Roscoe fans, you have to watch TMI tomorrow night. That's all I gotta say. You have to watch TMI tomorrow night. Christy Farrell, you have to watch TMI tomorrow night. That's all I gotta say. Um, did you already say whatever it was I was gonna like? That I just did. Yes, such a great show. These ladies really know what they're doing. Yes, they do. Stephanie Marquardt. Let's see here. Yes. So there you go. So if there's anything that you guys want to chat about here, I've got some time before I can probably bug out, or I could just let you all go early. Hello, Betsy Diglanzalis. How are you? Um, Good to see you. Um, so again, yeah, if there's anything that you guys have to chat about or whatever, throw it in the comments. We can gladly talk about it. Um, Overall, things are going pretty good here. Can't really complain too much. I mean, we're still not nearly where we were, pre-COVID, um, but we are. We had some optimism this week. The So our two biggest clients pre-COVID were Microsoft and T-Mobile. Both of them, both companies, placed orders this past week, so that was very nice. Tristan Michael Savage. I don't. This doesn't seem like a question. This seems like a sales pitch. There you go. So but I will say what Tristan is actually talking about is obviously very important. If guys, you know, if you're one of those people that buys one bag of balloons or something, you need to stop doing it. You need to make sure you stock up while you can on things. But the other thing I'm going to say, and this is something I've been saying all along, there's more than one or two manufacturers out there. There's a lot of manufacturers making product now. Float has five. Float has five manufacturers that make latex balloons now. Qualitex, Metallic, Gemar, Tuftex, Balloonia, all of them. They're all out there. Okay. And you know what? Whenever I have run out of a color from one person, I have found it in another. So you just got to look beyond your nose. That's it. Just got to keep looking. So, um, and yes, sure. So there you go. And that's great. Glad to hear that you're super cranking out. That works. So, yep, I saw that post, Debbie. Just did two large last minute jobs because you had stock. There you go. Yeah, I remember we bought a ton of orange links when the link shortage started happening because I wanted to make sure I had enough in case Pecky orders came in. So, oh, Jackie Sopko, yes, Balloonia, our newest sponsor. Go to the Float Convention website. Go to the sponsor page. The links are there. Let's see here. That's well, Benita. Yes, it's true. The shades are different. It's slightly different or what have you. But it depends. I mean, if you're trying to mix and match, then yeah, you might have a problem. But if you decide that okay, well, this red I'm going to use just the Balloonia red for or whatever, then you'd be fine. It won't matter if you're using. It won't matter if you're using. You could use Qualitex Spring Green and you can use Balloonia Red and you could use Metallic Yellow. As long as you're just consistent that way, it would work. And believe me, we've been doing a lot of that. Well, first of all, as sponsoring Float, I feel like I should be using all the manufacturers to one degree or another, and I do, and I'm very pleased. And some products, and again, like everything, there's some companies like a certain like I got to have a certain balloon. I got to have a certain balloon, right? From this manufacturer. But when it comes to a different manufacturer, I love this one, but I hate that one. I've got my favorites in all of them. In all of them. Cindy Hayden, are the instructors for Float going to be full-time people like that in past years? Um, the ones that I pick, yes. I can't vouch for what manufacturers pick. Um, Cindy, okay, so Cindy's question is alluding to a stipulation that Float has always had. Um, I am a firm believer that in order to be a teacher at Float, you should be living this life. Okay, you should be living the life of a balloon person. Now, this is not to imply that right now, because with COVID right now, it's a little bit different. I know there's a lot of balloon people that had to get side hustles, and there's a lot of balloon people doing other things, and you've even got other people saying, "Well, your business is yard cards now. You're not even a balloon person." And you can argue that point. You could absolutely argue that point. Um, but my whole take on it right now is that I've always chosen, and I got this from Patty Sorrell, the Queen, Patty Sorrell from Twisted Shout. Hey, it's 6:37. Who ultimately said, I want my instructors to be living examples of what the students want to be, right? And I think that's really important. There are some fabulous designers out there that don't make a living doing what we do. Um, Now, if a manufacturer says we're staking our reputation on this individual, then sure, that's fine. Obviously, I have the final say over who teaches, obviously. Um, but when it comes to the instructors, I do give them a lot of leeway. There's only a couple that are on a permanent banned list. Um, and in most cases, it's because they did something at Float they weren't supposed to do. Um, one of them is different. One of them got well. One of them was a pain in the butt, and then they did something that got them banned outside of it. But it's not important. Um, at the end of the day, if a sponsor wants to bring somebody who's a part timer, if a sponsor wants to bring somebody who's an up and coming talent who's just really kind of starting out, that's up to them. I'm not, I will express my, and I've done this too. I've actually reached out to someone. Are you sure you want to bring this person? Here are the apprehensions I have about you bringing this person. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying here's what my concerns are. But at the end of the day, you know, most people are going to get approved if a manufacturer wants to bring them. The good news is, so far, all of the people that are being brought to Float, sorry, that I'm aware of, um, all the ones, almost all the ones that I know of, have been around for a while and have done a really extensive job in the balloon world. Um, One of them is fairly new, and I don't know much about this individual, but their skill set's clearly there. So, we'll see what happens. Um, Manufacturers will hang their flag on whoever makes them the most money. Um, Not necessarily. Believe it or not, that's not necessarily it. Not well, okay, Carlos, you're partially right. To me, it's kind of like, oh, I froze. There we go. What a spot to freeze in too. Um, to me, it's a lot like Moneyball. If you've ever seen the movie Moneyball, um, it's kind of like, well, it's a sports movie, but it's a business sports movie, and it's about a character who basically doesn't he goes against the norm of how they pick baseball teams. He goes against traditional thinking and actually looks at it as stats and numbers, and basically it's about cost. So it's a combination of trying to get it's percentages versus dollars spent versus this, rather than this guy's a really good hitter, we got to have this hitter. Most baseball people are like, we got to have a good hitter, we got to have a good fielder, we got to have a good this, we got to have a good that. These guys are at it going, oh, he's not the best hitter, but here's his numbers and blah blah blah, and he wants this much money. And so and so in the end, of course, um, yeah, yeah, Matt, it's Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill. Um, and basically, it's about a different way to look at, he defied the odds and you know came out on top, kind of a thing. Um, so if you think of it that way, the manufacturers don't necessarily pick the people that are going to make them the most money, but they might pick people that reach different demographics. For example, okay, if someone were to tap Steve Jones to be a teacher at Float, now that's not going to happen because I'm producing. But let's say somebody were to teach me. The truth of the matter is, I would not be the anchor choice for them to bring. I would be a supplemental choice probably. And the reason for that is because I reach a particular demographic. You know, um, I am not a Chris Adamo. Bottom line, I am not going to draw hundreds and hundreds of people to come, especially women, to come take classes. That's just not me. I'm the niche guy. That's the dude that does really cool linking sculpture stuff. So if somebody's saying, hey, you know what, we're trying to bring up this percentage of our business, that's who they would bring. So by allowing the manufacturers to bring up to three instructors, they tend to they bring at least one home run hitter, and then they bring up a couple of utility players. Okay. And see, I'm very realistic in my role, in the industry. I know I'm damn good at what I do, but I'm not the headliner. For the most part, I'm a supporting actor, and I'm okay with that. I really am. I'm okay with that because at the end of the day, you know, the stuff that I really like to do and the stuff that I'm really passionate about is a niche. So it's all good. Um, when you click on the instructors to float, it shows the info for last year's instructors. Um, Angela, I don't. Have you hit refresh? Because I thought we got rid of all that. I'll go take another look. I thought we got rid of all that, but we're not this year. The bios aren't. I didn't put the bios on the website this year for the instructors, but I should have also removed all the previous ones. So if there's still one or two there, I'll go try and clean that up later. Um, but yeah, we're not. The reality is that um, last year well, the last couple of years we've done a tremendous amount of work on the instructor links at Float, and like we got bios and we got portfolios and we had all kinds of stuff put on there, and then like nobody ever went to them. And when you actually tracked the info that you could see where people were clicking and what they were clicking on, nobody ever went. So it was like, all right, we just stopped doing it. So there's that. Okay, well, I will take a look at it, Angela, and see what I can figure out where the problem is. Well-timed Golden Globe reference. I'm not sure what my reference was, Dory, but thank you. Um, so, okay. So do we have any other questions out there? Thank you, Cindy. That was a great question, by the way. I appreciate that. Yeah, I had some people that were, I found it interesting. I actually got some very negative feedback from some people about the Float Foundation. And I was, oh, best supporting actor. Okay, there you go. Thank you, Laurel. Um, I got some very interesting feedback, some very negative feedback um, about how we'd lowered the standard of the classes at Float. And I went, what are you talking about? And the individual in question said, well, my God, you just taught a 101 class. What were you thinking? And I'm like, first of all, you didn't take the class. So how are you criticizing my class when you didn't even take it? Secondly, the class was called Linking Sculptures 101. So it wasn't like I taught a class on beginning Linkoln's 101. I taught an intermediate subject. I taught the beginning of an intermediate subject. So yeah, I'm not really sure where that's coming from. But the Float, let me give you a really good example. I've already pissed off half a dozen instructors at Float because half a dozen instructors at Float have already said, oh, and I've got this amazing organic class. Do we really need 6 organic classes at Float? No. We need 1, maybe 2. Maybe 2. And the reason I say that is because different instructors have different approaches to things. I blow my balloons up this size. Well, I blew them up this size and this size. Okay. That's the extent of, I think, what we need for organic classes at Float. I'm sorry. I'm not one of those people that thinks that I mean, I get it. Hey, 37 once again. I get it that organic is still a trend. It's still a thing. For how long, I don't know. But it cannot be the entire curriculum of Float. It just can't. And I've had some people get angry. Now, I've been planning this class for months. Well, then you should have asked me. Because I'm not going to have 6 organic classes at Float. It's just not going to happen. It's just, I don't want every photograph at Float to be organic decor. There's other stuff out there. And Lord knows, right now, what's making a lot of people money is not organic. The reality is, with all these new people joining the industry and all of them buying Etsy kits and all of them doing all this other stuff, the price of organic has plummeted. You're not making profit from organic right now, or at least most people aren't, because they're trying to keep up. If they're doing what they right now, you're up against people charging $50 for garlands, $50 for garlands. So you either drop your pricing down, or you're just not selling garlands right now. Okay, you're making money other ways. Let's focus on the 99 other ways you can make money. And let organic is. I hate to say this, but I kind of feel like organic is done. I can't imagine what more you can do with it than what's already been done with it. Maybe it's just me, but there's a. So. I don't. Stephanie, please no more organic. I don't. No, I'm with you. I think that, like I said, I think organic. I just. Again, I believe it's got a place, and I do believe, and there's some fabulous designers doing beautiful stuff with organic. But here's the problem. If I were to put 3 pictures that you've never seen, right? 3 organic installations by 3 top designers that you've never seen, can you tell them apart? Probably not. That's what my point is. So, you got 99 problems before organic ain't one. There you go. I don't think that organic is ever going to go away, and I don't think it should. I think it was an incredible shot in the arm for our industry. I really do. And you can't argue that organic decor, before organic, the balloon industry was absolutely, emphatically, it was stagnating. And again, remember, 5 years ago, balloons were the redheaded stepchild of the event world. People were like, oh, you do balloons? Oh, how cute. Let's talk to some real money people over here. I mean, that's the thing. you know. So organic suddenly made balloons, Rico Suave. Um, so, you know, say what you will, every single one of you should light a candle, say a prayer, do whatever for the inventor of organic decor, because it did boost the industry and it really generated a lot. Now, of course, what's happened now is just completely gone sideways, right? In ways that we couldn't even imagine. But we kind of did, because we kind of knew this was eventually going to happen with organic. Anything that's that big and popular eventually burns itself out. All these people in Louisiana want organic all day long. Yes, they do. And we get them here too. We get them here too. The problem is they want to spend $99. So we came up with a $99 garland. And that's it. Simple. 5 feet long, 99 bucks. Out the door. Thanks. Alexa can do it in like 10 minutes. And it's out the door. But then when they turn around and say, oh, no, I want this one. No, that one's not going to be $99. That's going to be $850. That's going to be $1,200. That's going to be whatever. When you're sending me a photograph from a Kim Kardashian party, you should expect the decor to be more than $100. So, haven't heard a Rico Suave reference in a while. That, Natasha, if the gray didn't already give it away, that just shares with you how old I am. So there you go. Yeah, that's what it is. Rico Suave. That's what's really sad too, because on my flight back here to Seattle, I was sitting next to a very nice young man who was 23. Didn't know who 80% of the people I had mentioned on the flight were. I'm like, damn, I'm old. I will say one thing though. There was some excitement on my return trip home from Chicago. One of the passengers was almost arrested getting off the flight. In Chicago, he was refusing to wear this mask properly. He had, he was wearing it around his chin, and then they'd be like, sir, you need to put the mask up. Put the mask up. And then, of course, 5 minutes later, his nose is sticking out. And then, 10 minutes after that, it's down around his chin again. And when he got on the plane, he started again. And then at one point, they told him that the marshals would be waiting for him when he got off the plane if he wasn't going to cooperate. Then he refused. Then he almost got off the plane, went back and sat down. And as we're getting off the plane, there are the cops standing right there. Now, I was still waiting for my ride. I did not have a ride yet. So I decided to watch the show. So I kind of hung back, and I just kind of like, come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. They didn't do it. The truth of the matter is, I think I believe they, after assessing the situation, realized that this guy is just too damn stupid. And I don't mean because he wasn't masking. I mean, he was just an absolute piece of work. I spent way too much time partying in high school and college, that kind of a guy, just not, probably fried too many cells in his head kind of a thing. And it didn't matter. You were never going to get this through to him. That doesn't really Chicago. But what I found interesting was that what they did do is they did put him on a no-fly list. I overheard him say that. So I really hope Seattle was his final destination. Because if he was just here visiting, that's going to be a long Greyhound ride home. That's going to be a long bus trip home. I really hope he lives here and he doesn't have to get back on a plane, because if he did, he's not getting back on a flight going back to Chicago. That's going to suck. So that was funny. So yeah, like I said, I sat there, like, where's my popcorn? Didn't happen. But it was still interesting to watch nonetheless. And yeah, you could tell the airline people were just like, it ain't going to matter. it's just whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's not good. So they basically said, all right, just list him. Walked off. And I just thought to myself, wow, that is just such a, really? Really? You just put yourself on a no-fly list for how long because of this? You know, Amtrak. Yeah, I'm not, Amtrak's not, Amtrak, you might as well, I mean, Amtrak is more expensive than flying sometimes. Maybe not right now. Maybe not right now. But Amtrak is even, I think it's even worse than a bus as far as time goes. I think you can, because they have bus routes that go direct. The problem with Amtrak is you pretty much stop at every station where there's a, you stop everywhere. You know, before COVID, I like to go visit Vancouver, Washington, or Vancouver, British Columbia sometimes, which is Canada, and they have a really cool Amtrak. I mean, it's about a 3 hour, it's about a 4 hour drive, I think, to Vancouver, British Columbia from here. And it's about a 3 hour train ride. And there's a lot of transportation options in Vancouver. So, you know, it's not, you know, I really enjoy taking the Amtrak there. But the reason why it takes 3 hours is because they stop like 6 times because there's all these little stations on the way to Canada. So, you know, it's that kind of. A cop was just shot and killed while escorting a man out of a business for not wearing his mask. Yep. I'm not surprised. People are stupid right now. I live in Seattle. There's a lot of stupidity going on in downtown Seattle. I don't plan on getting into discussions about that. People right now are just not acting their best. And I try to remind myself every day that people are still dealing with COVID. Oh my God. People are still dealing with COVID. And I don't mean physically dealing with COVID. I mean emotionally dealing with COVID. This afternoon, I was working on the computer and I had to go make a delivery this morning. So when I'm out of the property, Alexa we have signs that go on the door that eagle sightings. Yes, I spotted 3 bald eagles myself today on my delivery. So Alexa's phone number goes on the door and it says, we're here working, but call this number and somebody can come out and meet you. And when I got back, I completely forgot. We didn't take the sign down. So phone rings about 3 o'clock. And Alexa's like, oh, I'll be right out. And she goes out. Like 20 minutes later, she's still out front. And I go out there and I kind of stick my nose out because I'm like, you know, what's going on? And for lack of a better term, Alexa is playing therapist to a woman standing in our lobby who's basically just dumping her entire life story in Alexa's lap in the middle of our front shop. And as awkward as it was and as uncomfortable as it was, this was clearly something this woman needed to do. And so we both just kind of looked at it like, okay, let her talk. Let her say what she needs to say and be sympathetic. And, you know, clearly at this time and place, she needs this moment because we all have those moments. We all find ourselves in a situation where we need someone to listen. A lot of people haven't had that. And I get the feeling that this woman doesn't have that in her life. She's got adult children who she's probably trying to protect, right? From the sounds of things, she has a spouse who is literally wasting away. So, you know, she was in the shop for about 35 minutes. I think the only thing, and I think at one point she was crying before I got out there. And it was kind of interesting because one morning here at the shop, on a Monday morning, same kind of thing happened to me. I pulled up at about 7:30 in the morning, and a woman pulls into the parking lot. She says, "Oh, are you open?" I'm like, 7:30? No, we're not open yet. Oh, I was hoping to order balloons and blah, blah, blah. And starts talking to me. The next thing I know, she's bawling her eyes out in the middle of my parking lot. I was glad I could be there because clearly she needed somebody. And it reminded me, and it's funny Teresa made that post, it reminded me of what started 1 Million Bubbles to begin with, was the fact that I was out. I at my old shop, and I'll make this short because it's time's up. Um, I was out. I made that mural, if you remember, the "Be Safe, Be Kind" mural, and I was out in front of my shop. I went to go fix it. You know, you daily repair kind of thing, right? There was a woman standing in front of the shop crying in front of the mural, and I'm used to people going up to it and smiling and laughing and selfies and, oh, this is so great, blah blah, that kind of thing, right? And we've all heard it. I mean, we hear it every day with our work. But I walked out there and I literally found a woman crying. And I was like, what's wrong? And she told me, she just said, I don't know. I guess I just really needed to see this right now. And at that moment, I realized, I was reminded again of the power that our balloons have in people's lives. We take for granted, you know, the fun stuff. We take for granted the positive impact. It didn't dawn on me it could be so motivating. It could be so moving. And it was at that moment I realized that, you know what, people, we got to get ready for this. We got to have, people got to have their moments when they need them. And, you know, I've been thankful that there's been people in my life in this last year that have been there for me when I needed them. We've all hit low points, every single one of us. I've tried to be there for as many people as I could. I encourage you to do the same. Be patient. Remember that everybody right now is, they're still under stress. They're still under tremendous pressure. You know, if I had not gone on my vacation, I probably have ripped my hair out by now. You know, I was at a point where I was just ready to go. Not stupid, nothing like that. Just I was verge of just, you know, just constantly stress ball, freak outs, that kind of thing. Um, and the vacation gave me purpose. It gave me like, oh, there's light at the end of my tunnel. Um, I think it's important that we be that to people. Um, Thank you, Chrissy. That's very kind of you to say. Um, so, and Jackie, yeah, there you go, Jackie. I have people asking if I'm going to put stuff in my yard again. Yeah, like I said, 1 Million Bubbles is absolutely coming back. So I really hope that you guys will take part in it soon. Um, and in fact, that was one of the things I was working on today was the new logo for 1 Million Bubbles. And one last little shameless plug. If you watched Working Wonders the other night, you saw what the official mask for Float looks like. I'll be posting it in the group later this week. But yeah, so that's there. So, all right, so I'm gonna take just a couple minutes to recap what we already talked about. And one thing I forgot to talk about. So we're gonna start with this. There are 6 spots left at $4.99. 6 spots left at $4.99. So if you are thinking about registering and haven't registered yet, and you want to save $100 off the registration fee, grab one of those $4.99 spots while you can. Number 2, if you took Melissa's class on Tuesday, the replay information was sent to you on Friday. You have until March 26th to watch the video for free. For those of you that missed Melissa's class, on March 27th, you'll be able to purchase it as a digital download. And for those of you that did take the class, you will have from March 27th until April 3rd to purchase it for the $5 option. Okay. Jeff's class in March is coming up on March 16th. That is free to anyone who is at least pre-registered for Float 2022. So if you are fully paid or you have made a payment in the payment plan system, you are eligible for that class. But we're going to need to talk to Jeff about possibly how we're going to work it. And then just a reminder, I was in Chicago to assess hallway spaces, competition spaces, that kind of thing. Float is not being canceled. I still don't know where this came from, but Float is not being canceled. And in fact, we have pledged from this point forward that one way or another, Float is going to happen. The shape in which it's going to happen is going to be different, but I promise you there's going to be people there to some extent. How many people are going to be there is entirely up to the state of Illinois. Hopefully it'll be all of you, because I'm excited to see you all. So with all that being said, thank you all very much for joining me tonight. I really appreciate your time and your attention. Tristan, I hope you get all those orders out. That's great news. I'm very glad to hear all that. Again, real quick, shameless plug. Janice Whitehead's little crocheted dogs, aren't they adorable? You can contact her today and order one. I didn't say ask her for one. I said order one. Janice is a sponsor. Above or below zero on the day I was there. Actually, I was there during your heat wave. It was in the 40s when I was there. So yeah, it was nice. But that's what it's always like in the 40s here normally. So it felt like just a little windier, obviously, but you know, it didn't really bother me. And again, you have to remember, Benita, I lived in Anchorage, Alaska for 3 years. Cold is cold. So there you go. Thank you, Charlie. I appreciate it. So with all that being said, guys, thank you very much. I will see you next week. And don't forget, tomorrow night, TMI with Teresa Harding, 5 o'clock Pacific time, right here in the Float Network. For those of you Roscoe fans, you definitely have to watch tomorrow. That's all I got to say. Don't forget the virtual happy hour with Tuesdays with Tony every Tuesday night, 5 p.m. right here in the group. And of course, the Ladies of Working Wonders, Wednesday night, 5 p.m. Pacific time, right here in the Float group. Thank you guys very much, and I will see you next time.